Hey kids, join the club. Get the all-new CCXCC t-shirt made with 100% mutant power. Be like these cool kids. Get it now on dinobeast.com and chrisandersoncomics.com. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Chris Claremont X-Men Comic Club. I'm here as always with my good friend John Coates. How you doing, John?
Oh, I'm doing great, Chris. Ready to get into some mind fights.
We're on issue 131, so break it out and follow along with us. Last week in 130, it was a treat. We were introduced to two brand new classic X-Men characters. We were formally introduced to Kitty Pryde and Emma Frost, the White Queen.
That is correct. And then we got Dazzler.
Yes.
And Sebastian Shaw actually seeing his face.
Yes, Dazzler too. I totally forgot about Dazzler.
The Dazzler. How can you forget about the Dazzler, man?
I mean, I don't know how I could possibly forget about the Dazzler. Yeah, cool light show lady.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we're getting into it right now. So the team was sort of split up, right? Because Cerebro detected two new mutants, mutant nouveau, and one in Chicago, one in New York, and so they got split up. Scott and Jean went to Chicago, right? Was it Chicago? Or no. They
went to New York with Nightcrawler.
Yes, with Nightcrawler, that's right. And found Dazzler at a nightclub.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of the team went to try to get Kitty Pryde, who had just discovered her powers of sinking through matter. They tried to recruit her. Charles stayed behind to talk to the parents. They went to a diner, and all of a sudden, the Hellfire Club's minions attacked and hauled their asses off. Kitty escaped, but snuck in and snuck around and was able to get in there. And follow them. Meanwhile, the nightclub was also attacked by the minions, and that is kind of where we left off. What happened with the nightclub?
Yeah, I mean, basically, Jean, kicked ass, and
that's right.
So they escaped. But Jean was confronted once again in the flesh by Mr. Jason Wingard of the Hellfire Club.
Right. Yes.
And we were left with an ominous shadow on a wall and more hints about Wingard's true identity as of yet unrevealed. We're getting, this is sort of the third part now of our Hellfire Club saga, which gets lumped in as the beginning of the Dark Phoenix saga as well.
Yeah, and this one really kind of feels like it's getting to be Dark Phoenix-y, I think.
Yeah, the manipulation of Jean is really kind of ratcheting up here.
Yeah, this is fun for me. I still don't know who Wingard is, and I know that he's manipulating things, and
Yeah, because the last issue, we got the glimpse of the Black Queen. Jean is the Black Queen of the Hellfire Club.
Right.
Sort of in her mind.
Yeah.
Before she snapped out of it. So yeah, here we go.
Who is this? Who is this? Is this a burn cover?
Yes. Yeah, this is a burn cover here.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Cool Emma image there.
Yeah. Great White Queen cover here.
Yeah, I can kind of tell that through his Colossus face that it's him. I actually couldn't tell through her, but
yeah, definitely. Yeah, down here, like his Colossus definitely looks like him, and like the Hellfire Club soldiers just like the way their body shape is with their
Yeah.
arms flailing, like it just screams burn to me. Yeah.
All right, let's dig in.
131.
All right.
And here
Cool
we
opening
go.
page.
Great opening splash.
Yeah.
Claremont Byrne Austin production. Austin getting lumped into the like main title block here, which is cool. Orzechowski, Ween, Roger Stern, Jim Shooter.
Yep, the classic crew.
Yep. This issue is from March of 1980.
Okay.
For those of you keeping chronological references here.
Got it.
I love these are some of like Byrne's best, I don't know, just like portrait drawings of the X-Men, I think.
Yeah, he doesn't do too many,
Right
or hadn't at this point done too many, just like straight up.
Yeah, and they all look fantastic. I like how their heads are all at different angles, you know? Like usually you'll get those like team books and it'll like give you the roster, but it's always like just a straight on every, you know, kind of looking head. But they're all kind of, you know, turned and are interesting this way.
Yeah, you can tell, you can see what was talking about with the Colossus brow there, you know, like this only John Byrne would draw his brow sort of like that.
Yeah. And he's got a little more head on the top than Cochran would leave him with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. Getting smarter.
Storm eyes, you know?
Yeah, those are great. Very round, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Kitty too. Kitty's cool. Kitty's got this. It's kind of funny because I feel like she's very much drawn in like a mid-70s. It's funny, you know, like you can, decades past. I feel like maybe I'm wrong because we're living in them, but I feel like more than now, decades past, really styles and trends changed really fast. And it feels like the last like 30 years, I don't know, maybe not much has like changed as much as like in a single decade. And like the 70s, there were like 3 movements basically, you know, in just that one decade. And this is 1980. I feel like, you know, Kitty's wearing more of a like post hippie outfit.
Yeah, you know? She's got the bell bottoms. She's got like the little like, you know, belly revealing shirt with like a little like brown vest, you know, like she could be, you know, she could be at Woodstock or something even like.
Yeah.
You know,
she's bordering rock concert. Woodstock and disco era, but 1980 we're past both of that.
Yeah. It's really interesting.
So it's probably just a fact that we've got these like 30-year. I mean, I don't know how old Byrne is here, but we got these like, you know, late 20s, early 30-year-old guys who are he's like a little out of touch with fashion or something. I don't know.
Yeah, he's like it's coming back. He's gonna ride the wave. Although it's like the 90s when it comes back.
Right. So. And again, like as armchair quarterbacking this stuff, let me just like say that I'm just making a blanket statement about that. I'm not giving him shit because like I couldn't do any better. You know, I don't know. I don't know anything about fashion, so you know.
And the you know our middle shot of Kitty with our story in action here. Cool use of screen tones and stuff to create this shadow. We get this the sort of faded one that we've seen several times.
Yeah,
throughout X-Men, which is. Man, it just works every time they put it down.
I like that graphic use of the windows, you know, just kind of floating there, you know, like those are the ones that are on. You don't need to put them all in. You know that there's a building there.
Yeah, great shorthand.
Yep.
And it doesn't clutter your page either because it's like not important.
Exactly. He spent all the time drawing that trash can, not the building.
Yeah, like every little piece of trash hanging out of it.
Yeah, it's great.
So here we are. We're in Chicago because that's where Kitty was, and she's running from Hellfire Club guys.
The Gimps.
Yeah, and do
they have
basically
a name?
Like what?
Do they have a name? Is there like a
No, they don't really have like a standard name, like a name of like the foot soldier rank or anything like that.
okay? They're just minions.
Yeah, they're just sort of like dudes. And Kitty's getting tired running from them, and they're like, all right, we're just gonna run her down with our car. And she falls down, and they're like, they're ready to just run over her. And here comes Phoenix out of nowhere, which is what they say. They're like, it's Phoenix, one of the X-Men. She dropped out of nowhere. Yeah. And they're like, run her down. And he's like, run. She's like, run me down, gentlemen. And she just like stops that car. Yeah, just crumples the front of it, and those dudes just fly out through the windshield.
That is an American steel car too. That's not some sort of 2025 plastic thing.
Yeah. And Kitty's freaking out. She's like, oh my God, that woman just waved her arms and the car just stopped like it hit a wall. And then, of course, Nightcrawler pops in to be our save our damsel in distress. But, of course, Kitty's, still going to kind of freak out because, he looks like a monster.
Yeah. Yeah, I like his popping in there. That like you don't see his legs. He's just the top half of him in the shadow there.
Yeah, just in the smoke. Mm-hmm. But he does remind Kitty, like, well, you called me on the phone.
That's right.
Which is that's who Kitty called with her emergency number from Storm. It went to the Rolls-Royce car phone, and Nightcrawler answered.
Love it. Part of me was like, why Kitty could just like phase through that car, but thinking about it, she's brand new to her powers. She's scared out of her mind, like
and the first couple times she used it in the previous issues here, like she like passed out right away.
Yeah,
because it was like too exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
And so now we get this great shot of Jean and these guys that I don't know might be dead, just like in this car wreckage. And then she's like taunting them.
Yeah. That's a great panel. Because the guys are like, dead or whatever, might be dead in the chaos of the crumple of the car. And then he frames her around this fire perfectly. And then the Dazzler and Cyclops with the blank background building, it's really, really well crafted panel.
Yeah. And she like really Phoenix stands out really well there. Like she's glowing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And here comes Cyclops and Dazzler, because Dazzler came with them from last issue to try and stay safe. And Cyclops doesn't like what she did, but she's like she's basically telling him, you didn't see inside their minds like I did. These animals got no more than what they deserved. Harsh.
Yeah, she's getting harsh here.
Yeah, harsh, Jean. So then she flies them up to the roof to not where Nightcrawler is, but Kitty ran away from him. She dove through the roof. And so to avoid scaring her anymore, Jean sort of changes her clothes back into looking normal and changes her hair color at the same time. Like the red hair is too weird. I don't know.
Interesting. My classic is not. Oh, maybe it is, but it's just barely. But it's definitely shorter too.
Yeah. It's like a whole different the way she looks.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's able to finds Kitty, calms her down, and tells her, "Hey, I'm one of the X-Men. You phoned us for help." And then Kitty's like, "Oh, X-Men." Because she already knows that Storm and Colossus and Wolverine are X-Men because they told her at the malt shop the day they met her.
Yeah.
So then they go back to this little ship that's the little Hellfire Club spaceship.
Love that posture on Nightcrawler there.
Yeah, with his feet tucked up.
Yep.
Yeah, and his face is kind of hidden. He's kind of brooding. He's like, "Oh, Kitty didn't like me," and that doesn't make him feel very good.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, everyone's got good posture here. You know, like Jean's kind of like, you know, on a hip. Cyclops is kneeling down. Like Dazzler's got her legs kicked out, you know. Just keeping all the poses interesting here. And so here we got more Hellfire guys are all tied up. And they're basically getting the rundown of like, hey, what happened? You know, who captured the X-Men? And Cyclops is like, yeah, we got attacked also. And so now Jean's going to try and read one of these goons' minds to get all the information they need. And here we get this great sort of half face panel, half goon, half Jean. And we get some little glimpses of the X-Men in cages. Here's the White Queen. And then our Hellfire Club sort of sign and our sort of Lord's Cardinal back here.
Yeah, I like how the background is just really drawn with a very thin nib.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that sort of gets them up to speed on, well, of who this Hellfire Club is. And now we start getting some of this Jean stuff where like she's seeing Wingard's face in her mind here. And she's thinking about all these she thinks they're time flashes, like she's reliving a past ancestor who must have been married to Wingard's ancestor or Wingard himself, but he's also in the present time as well. And she's like super confused, and she just knows, well, he's a member of the Hellfire Club.
Right.
And is this where like now she starts thinking like, well, you know, maybe her ancestor was also in the club or something like that, you know?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like, yeah, she's super confused. So she's like, all that messing with her mind the Wingard's been doing is like really starting to trip her up. Like she can't figure out what's what.
Right.
Yeah. And then she's not sharing it with anybody. Like she's not telling Scott what's going on. She's just kind of keeping it to herself. And so now we get back to here's our plot, because they got to like, they're going to try and spring the rest of the X-Men, and they're going into like a Frost Enterprises, so place owned by our White Queen Emma Frost, and they're like pretending to be sort of tied up in the back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
with one
who
person
is this?
driving.
Is Phoenix controlling this guy's brain, or is it who's in the suit?
They'll show us.
Oh, okay. Maybe I just like missed that part.
Yeah, they show us. And again here they're the Hellfire guys, like they're always referring to each other by their first names. You know, so he's like, you know, this guy's like, I want to say it's like Salvatore or something like that, and they call him Sally, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Nickname. They're like, whoa, how'd you do it, Sally? Yeah, Salvatore's team. And everyone's kind of buying it. You know, the White Queens keep looking at a monitor, and she's like, oh, okay, well.
Yep, got him.
They must have got him.
Yep.
Excellent. And then while she's waiting on them to come in, she's going to just basically like torture Storm, because she's just like evil and she just likes hurting people.
Right.
Yeah, which is awesome. Just awesome. Like I love a good villain that's a villain.
Yeah, like she's just cruel and mean. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, very cruel. And looks super cool, you know?
Yep.
All in white there with her cape. And if we remember in the 2 issues ago when she captured the other X-Men, she blew up her own Hellfire Club goons.
Yeah, just cold-blooded.
Yeah, cold-blooded. And so here's our other guys trapped, and here comes Kitty just walking through the walls, while everyone else is distracted. And now she's going to try and spring Wolverine, and she just like puts her hand into the lock here, and it disrupts the mechanism, and it just goes pick.
Yep.
And pops open.
Easy as that.
Yeah. Yeah. See, like Kitty, like she's already like awesome with like no training.
Yeah.
And like, you know, Wolverine, he's like, they're like sort of like drugged inside the cages.
Yeah, it's like the cages are dampening them.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, the cages are like messing with them. So yeah, so he's like, well, you're the kid. And she's like, yeah, Kitty Pryde. I'm rescuing you.
Yeah.
And then, but Zarapt, she gets shot in the back by a couple of goons. But that's all the time it took. Like, now Wolverine, he's ready.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like, sucker, you just made the biggest mistake of your life and the last. Look at that face. Woo.
Yeah, that's a great face.
Yeah. He's ready to cut some dudes up.
Gosh, man, having to draw Wolverine half naked must take forever with all those little hairs.
Yeah, whoever like did that the first time, it's like, oh man, now everyone's gonna have to do that.
I don't remember Cockrum doing that.
We never really saw him. We never saw him stripped down necessarily. Just the one time when his costume got burnt off.
That was the last.
But it was like the
that...
hair was burnt too, right? So we didn't really see.
Oh, that's a good question. We'd have to go back and look. But that was the last. That was the last Cockrum issue, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
that was the issue that Cockrum designed like 700 new characters for Byrne to come on the next time and have to like handle all that shit.
Yeah, and you know, like all like the hair also on Wolverine, like whenever the way they're drawing him now when he's like shirtless and stuff. I'm sure like Byrne isn't penciling those in like that tiny little line.
I don't know, man.
Right? To have an ink, like when you just tell your inker, be like, you know, and you know, do the Wolverine hair.
That's a good question. I don't know. We should look at those Elseworlds things that he did, because that's probably the only surviving.
Oh yeah, like actual
stuff, you know,
stuff. Yeah,
yeah.
But like, you know, imagine if you're the inker, like, you know, you're Austin. He's like, we're gonna have like Wolverine. He's gonna be like mostly naked for like whole issue. So you're gonna have to ink a lot of Wolverine hair. Get ready.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. Here's our car. The sort of X-Men we're in, and as they're driving up here, you see like the X-Men, like, you know, they're not sort of faking that they're caught anymore,
right?
In the back,
like they're about to get busted.
Yeah. And you were asking. About how they're getting in, if she's controlling that guy.
Right.
Yeah. She must be doing that.
Yeah.
For some reason I thought maybe he was like a figment, like she was telepathically making it seem like he was driving.
Right. I that's what I didn't really address that. I feel like.
No. Because that'd be like a thing she'd be doing that like Cyclops would be freaking out about. Like he'd be like, "Oh my god, she's manipulating this guy or whatever." But he seems to be okay with it. And so here we go. The Cyclops just blows the whole top off this car.
Yeah,
because it's go time now.
Boom,
and then boom, here comes Dazzler, pops on out, and does her sort of like radiant energy. That's just too much light, and it just like knocks the guards out.
Yeah.
Sensory overload.
So that's the thing that she can do, huh? She dazzles them, right? Like she can like, it's like hypnotizing them, or like just like.
It's just like a strobe light giving somebody a seizure.
Got it.
Is the kind of, is the kind of thing. I was thinking like that early Simpsons episode where like they go to Japan and like one of the cartoons, like they start watching, it's like fighting seizure robots. And it's just like all these like flashing lights and it like knocks Bart out or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, here we can see that our goons are they're just like they just kind of collapsed.
Yeah.
In place. And the X-Men are inside and they're going after it. And here's one of these weird early things where like right here, like roller skates pop out of Dazzler's shoes.
Wouldn't be actually invented for another 20 years.
Yeah. The little skate shoes. Not faster than just running down the hall. Or, you know.
I mean, maybe potentially.
Maybe.
She's really hanging on to that era, I swear.
Yeah, they really wanted her to be like this disco queen. So bad. And yeah, the X-Men are coming in hard. And everyone's freaking out. Well, we're under attack. It's the X-Men. And, you know, the White Queen just like, obviously, you fool. But she's still got a hand up here, like, zapping Storm. Like, she's not going to give up her torture.
Yeah.
Just because they're getting attacked. Yeah. And so now this image is great where, like, you just kind of see her little power, you know, just kind of glowing.
Yeah.
Like her face is all in shadow and you just see her blonde hair with those eyes.
Yeah, that's great. It's like emanating out in two different ways, like radiating out.
Yeah. And she's like, oh, I'm going to teach them a lesson. But here's Phoenix got to her first and just like, is that so? And
okay,
she turns around.
Yeah, this might be my favorite page of the entire run so far.
Ooh, this one right here?
Yeah.
There's so much good stuff on this page. Yeah. Talk me through it, Chris.
Okay, so first of all, this is like a moment where you really get this, like, Jean is a badass and not taking any shit moment. And, you know, you see her butt cheek sticking out there in the foreground, really cool, like screen tones on that. And then as you go, you know, Emma's, you know, also like super, super cruel at this point. She's just like, I'm just going to torture the living daylights out of Storm, you know, and like and turn her into like a vegetable basically.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is when Jean walks in this one shot. And then the next one, you know, you get this great image of Jean sort of breaking the fourth wall visually, not in story, but visually, just looking directly at the viewer with these
great panel,
dark eyes. Yeah, just the inking, everything on that is perfect. And she's like, you know, I understand you're a telepath. Well, Your Majesty, quote unquote, let's see how good you really are. And then the next panel, we flash back to elsewhere, and you got this really, really cool shot of like, it looks like a scene from World War II or something, like the Battle of the Bulge or something, you know. It's like you got Dazzler and Scott coming in, drawn really small, but really well, with all this industrial stuff around, and then this broken wall that, you know, Scott has like been nailing, I guess. And then the guys in the foreground just look so cool, like, you know, taking cover and shooting for them, shooting at them. Just a great composition. And then to top it all off, this last panel is Kurt Nightcrawler coming in, going, I'm right behind you, Mine Air. And then thinking to himself, I've been aching to try this stunt again. And last scene, it says in classic X-Men number 17. So what does it say there? What issue was that?
Issue 111.
111. Okay. He says, by teleporting as fast as I can punch, I can deck all of these men before the first one even hits the ground. So he's like bamfing, and the bamf is spread across the entire panel. Just boom, 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 and he's just reaching out of the magenta and blackness in his full shadow, and then sock the final one at the end. It's just such a great. This is comics at its best. Like that's one of the best panels I've ever seen, and the page just all together, like everything. It's just so good.
Yeah, it's probably the best Nightcrawler action panel in X-Men comics.
Yeah,
this right here. It's just so perfect, and like the lettering is perfect around it, and you get what he's thinking, and just like coming out of the teleportation smoke, just walk, box, sock, and the different body positions. It's so good.
And that bamf, the lettering, so good.
Yeah. Yeah, this is a great page.
Yeah,
top to bottom here. Oh man, and you just like keep coming back to like this, the darkness here, this like Phoenix face.
Yeah, that's
where she's just taunting the White Queen, like, "Oh, you think you're a telepath? Well, let's see."
Yeah, that's the moment where it's sort of like, okay, now the Dark Phoenix saga, I feel like, is probably kicking in.
Yeah, it's like, now you're starting to get that darkness creep in there, and it's almost a challenge callback to a little bit to like when the professor in his flashback met Amal Farouk in Egypt. Only it's kind of weird, like flipped here. It's like, it's not 100%, but it's more like Jean could be Farouk and the White Queen is sort of the professor, like the seemingly weaker of the two.
They're like both Farouks, really, because they're both just like
but they're both
cold and heartless at this point.
So before we get to our mind fight, we got to see what everyone else is up to. Oh my gosh, I creased the page. Oh no.
Ruh-roh.
Oh, can't have that. Okay, there we go. And so here comes our other X-Men. Colossus has been freed, and he's like carrying Kitty.
She's got to be loving that.
Yeah. And they're just talking about like, oh, what happened? And like, what happened to the guards? And Colossus is like, yeah, Wolverine dealt with them. And then all of a sudden, here comes another guy with one of these crazy high-tech sort of laser guns.
Yeah, that's like proto-Liefeld gun. I love it.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, right. That's like where.
And I love how they say that Wolverine took care of them. When last we saw him, he had that like just like menacing face, and the snikt came out.
Yeah, he was ready to. He's going to carve somebody up.
And
now Colossus is finally going to jump into action here and turns to steel to like block everybody from the bullets or the energy or whatever this guy's shooting. And just sort of walks forward, taking the shots, and then just slugs the guy.
Yeah.
Boom. Great little Colossus moment.
Yeah, I'd hate to see what that guy's head looks like after getting hit with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably like a pumpkin hitting a pavement or something, like
yeah.
Really. And, and Colossus feels kind of bad. He's like, I'm ashamed. I lost my temper. But that guy called me a freak, and it like really bothered me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and here's, Kitty already with her crush. Yep. She's like, wow, Peter, you saved us all. That was neat.
It was.
Yeah. Because he's like kind of clueless.
Oh, yeah.
To like, just to women in general, and they're like, oh, like that this girl's got a crush on him.
Yeah, he only recently gained a cerebral cavity.
Yeah. And so here's an interesting thing where they're like, hey, we got to find Storm and the Professor, and Wolverine is just kind of saying like basically like off panel, yeah, the Professor, like we got him free and then he left.
Yeah.
Like it almost makes you, wonder, like, why did they even show the professor getting kidnapped in the first place? Like they don't show that happens off panel, and then he's just laid out on that slab, and then he gets away and just leaves the rest of the X-Men off panel.
Yeah, when they talk about it at the end, it made me wonder what that was all about.
Yeah. But so they're like, okay, well, we got to go confront the White Queen, basically.
Real quick on that panel where Wolverine's pointing, look at the top of his hand, and they even just on the outline of the top of his hand as it's pointing, he drew every little hair poking off of it.
Yeah, like look at how hairy like his fingers are here.
Yeah. Oh man.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Yeah, and Cyclops here is thinking like, I hope Jean hasn't run into trouble. It's like, trouble, not quite. And here we get our mind showdown in Phoenix in her full flaming bird outline here. Basically just taking everything the White Queen can throw at her.
Right.
Just to basically test her. Like she's just
like a cat with a mouse here. Yeah, just toying with her.
Uh-huh. And Storm kind of sees it, like, and she's like, oh, the Phoenix effect. It's so beautiful, but it's so terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So now Phoenix basically knows, okay, this is all you've got, White Queen. And I know it, and you know it too. And here we go. And she just breaks down the White Queen's defenses and just starts draining her of her energy. And then it says the White Queen here, only one chance, must channel all remaining power into a telepathic Cybolt. And you kind of see this energy coming off the Queen's head.
Mm-hmm.
And then the whole building basically explodes.
Yeah.
From it.
Right. So, you're led to believe that she basically blew her head up.
Yeah, basically. So then there's just all this rubble, and they're just like that, this crazy explosion. And, Cyclops is like, oh, Jean can't be dead. I'd feel it if she's dead. Like, answer me. And he's trying to find her in the wreckage. And then here she just comes out on her own.
Mm-hmm.
And just blasts through with her Phoenix force. And, she rescued Storm, kept Storm safe. And she's like, hey, we're none the worse for wear, but I'm afraid the White Queen wasn't so lucky. And that's, we don't know what happened to the White Queen. As far as this seems, is she's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then here we get, well done, my X-Men. And oh, here's the professor popping in. And he says he was holding back just to observe how they did. Which basically now he's not gonna treat them like novices anymore.
Right. Like
he was at first when he came back from space.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that little weird scene that we saw was sort of setting that up for him to just sort of, these aren't kids anymore kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So it kind of just kind of wraps up that little side thread that was going on with the professor.
Mm-hmm.
And we get this great sort of 2-panel of in costume at the scene of the battle, and then in the sort of the same positions, but dressed back in their civilian clothes outside Kitty's house when they took her home.
Right.
Yeah. And this is another, we're starting to see it almost every issue. Byrne is working in, one of these kind of 2-panel stacked where it looks, same position, but you change costumes, or Kitty fell through the floor.
Yeah. He's starting to use that. It's another great example of scale for everybody too.
Yeah, right? Yeah, like Kitty's 14 and a half, and she's
13 and a
tall
half.
as Wolverine.
Yeah, right. Yep.
And the professor, he's offering Dazzler a spot on the X-Men, but she turns him down. She wants to try just being a singer and living a normal musician's life.
What's that?
Yeah. Yeah. Chris Anderson style. So she leaves. And the professor's like, hey, she can be trusted with who we are and stuff. And that sort of takes Dazzler out of X-Men for a while. And then Kitty comes home and her parents are freaking out. They were going to call the cops and like they were worried, and like her mom's crying like, oh my God, you're back.
Yeah.
And Jean, we see like this little glow around her eyes. She just gets into like her Kitty's dad's brain and just sort of, messes with him so he's not angry anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now he's going to go star on Welcome Back, Kotter.
Yeah. Totally uncool, Gene.
Yeah.
And
Cyclops, she's really meddling now,
Yeah, Cyclops picks up on it. He's like,
yeah.
Did you just do something?
Yeah, and Storm does too there, right?
Yeah. And it's like, Jean, you didn't. And she's like, just doing what comes naturally.
Mm-hmm.
Like, ooh, that's not cool. Modifying memories. And Storm and Cyclops have a little conversation about it, sort of on the side there.
Mm-hmm.
And Cyclops is like, hey, you were in the lab when she fought the White Queen. What was it like? What was she like? And Storm's answer is not human. When she uses her power as Phoenix, there's a ferocity about her and a grandeur. And it's like, uh-oh. And Storm says, there's a dark side to the Phoenix that could consume her. It's almost as if something or someone was manipulating her, helping that wrongness to grow. And as she's saying it, we get this little sort of magenta image here hovering over him of freaking Mr. Jason Wingard.
Weird. I got to show you something on mine when we flip to it.
Okay, cool. So, foreshadowing and sort of really laying it out as the issue ends at like, ooh, this manipulation that's been going on, it's pulling out this like the dark side of the Phoenix Force here.
Yeah.
And that leads us to next issue, and Hellfire is their name.
Ding, ding, ding.
So this has been kind of an interesting and really nice sort of 3-issue slow introduction to the Hellfire Club.
Yeah.
Split them apart, introduce White Queen, slowly start to show some of the other members in the background.
Yeah.
Sort of building them up that way. And I really like it.
Yeah, it's cool. Just real quick, for some reason they shrunk my Jason Wingard here and kept him black.
Oh, whoa!
Isn't that weird? What a weird choice.
They did. Why? I wonder.
No idea.
Because the big magenta one is like so much more ominous, and
so
you think it was like a printing thing, like they were going to have problems reproducing how it printed like that?
My guess is it was drawn separately. And because of the color hold on it, and maybe they just weren't paying close enough attention or something. I don't know.
Maybe let me see the original one. Maybe they lost it or something.
Maybe
the original, and so that's just somebody in the bullpen, just sort of like drawing it from an original issue.
Maybe. It looks pretty close, though. It's very close.
Yeah. I mean, and like that one's so much smaller. that it's like you lose a lot of the detail in this one.
Yeah, it's very weird to have it in full black and just hovering with so much space, especially after seeing yours.
Yeah.
I thought it was weird when I was reading this too. Like something didn't seem right to me.
Yeah, that's an interesting change.
Lytle cover.
That's a great cover. That's awesome.
It is a great cover. That body, I like the way that he handles the shine on it, you know, and like the contour of things. Like anybody else would have drawn like a full boob, you know, and he's just got this that correct contour and let the color handle it. It's great. Yeah. And the inside. So these insides are getting like just interesting here. It's more graphic than they used to be. Yeah, so he did this too. Uses pointillism on this, so it's like a different style altogether. So pointillism and then this graphic sort of thing with the key and blood on it. And like, oh man. And then we've got
is this a Rick Leonardi?
It is. It's a Rick Leonardi backup with Fabian Nicieza. Is that it?
That's how I say it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it really made me like, as we flip through this, look at this sort of like the like lineage of these three artists, because I don't know where. So Leonardi, especially in this one, looks almost like he and John Romita Jr. Like went to the same school, you know, sort of, so to speak. I can see Romita Jr. in Leonardi's work. I'm not sure who came first with that style, but there are similarities that I see. And then I can also see where Capullo is going to come from at some point through Leonardi's work. But the stuff that's more Leonardi than the JR stuff. So we'll just take a look at this stuff.
Yeah, let's see here if this. Yeah, this is good. This is good prime Leonardi stuff. Yeah. He does some of my favorite issues of X-Men when he gets in there, and he also, you know, he did like the bulk of all the original like Cloak and Dagger stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that
Primera stuff.
Yeah. So, I mean, these almost look like early Capullo faces too.
Yeah, I'd never put that together until you just said it right there, and that it makes a lot of sense. Like you can definitely see that.
And then a lot of that JR stuff is happening in here, like really a lot that I saw here. Anyway, so this I have to say this is one of the most boring stories that I've ever read in my entire life.
At least it looks good.
It looks good. So we've got Dazzler on stage. She's singing, and it says, Tuesday, it was Zappa's out on Staten Island for some outdated Aerosmith and Zepp. Wednesday, it was some progressive Elvis the Sea and Graham Parker, the folks on the island at OBI East. So like, you know, they said Aerosmith and Zepp, but then, you know, they couldn't say Elvis Costello or Graham Parsons for some reason. And at this point, this is 1980. Graham Parsons is probably gone at this point. He died pretty young. Oh no, wait a minute. Maybe I'm thinking of someone else. And you know, IBO instead of CBGBs, I guess, right?
Yeah, that must be.
Yeah, Thursday gig at Rutgers Barn. I don't know what that would be. Was canceled. Friday is disco night at Lemore's. Whoop-de-doo. So she's singing Ring My Bell through this, like, you know, outdated Aerosmith and Zeppelin, but she's singing You Can Ring My Bell. Like,
yeah, that's funny.
So cool. Talk about, you know, outdated even probably in 1980. Like, wow. So anyway, she's like, "Oh my god, I'm late. I gotta go." And so she check that out. Very very JR here.
Yeah.
That face.
Uh-huh.
So she takes off, pulls the skates pop out. She grabs the back of a fin of this car.
Yeah, Marty McFly style, right?
Totally Marty McFly style. Before Marty McFly.
Oh yeah, that's
no,
true.
Wait, maybe
not
actually.
For the backup. Yeah.
Nope. Yep, this is 1989, so this is well after, like five years or so after. So yeah, like right in the back, they're like, "Hey, you want some brewskis?" And she's like, "Oh, like she's totally catching a ride from them." But then she's like, "Does your mom know where you are?" Like, and they're like, "Hey," she's like, your mama know what you're doing this late night?" He's like, "Hey, a joke. I get it. Haha, funny lady in silver spandex and blue face." She's like, "Joke's on you, butthead. When you wrap yourself around a telephone pole, you'll see the light." Like, whoa, dude. Okay. Like, yeah, okay. Drinking and driving's not cool, but like, you're the one that's like hitching a ride with them. And then she like blinds them with her light. Like, okay, like they're already like drinking and driving, and now they're gonna be blind too. Like, oh my god. So yeah, these teens probably died in a horrific accident shortly after this.
I mean, it's a harsh lesson.
Damn, dude. Yeah. So she's like going over the bridge and just skating through here, just kind of talking to herself about like the route that she needs to take to get here. And it's just like she was meeting up with some friends, and one guy is this like Muslim friend, another guy's blind, and then you got this other girl in like a cool hat. And basically they just start talking about Reagan and like politics and like what they'd do if they were like on a superhero team, and how one guy's like, "Oh, I'd take out the trash, blah 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 blah," and she's like, "Oh, you sound like a super villain," and the night goes on, and the shift changes, and the waitresses are changing, and it's really boring. They're just talking about nonsense until you just finally get to the end, and they're walking away, and then she's like, they're like, great, all night we've talked about personal choices, right? Well, I choose to never be a superhero. Believe it. See you next Friday. That's it. Just like a bunch of blah 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 about nothing, and then choices that they could possibly make, and then she just decides at the end she's not going to ever be a superhero.
Yeah, that's a really weird choice to for a backup story. With Dazzler, and I know that maybe that they're trying to set it in the time frame of when the issue happened, continuity wise, but also this is on the stands at the same time as X-Men with Dazzler on the team. So
yeah. So we got Atlantis Attacks is in the annuals right now, and if I'm not mistaken, the Atlantis Attack New Mutants issue is Rob Liefeld's first New Mutants.
Oh, it could be. I've got that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's it. So I don't think he before that. Yeah, he was doing Hawk and Dove, I think, over at DC before he came. His first Marvel work's about to happen.
Yeah.
And his last Marvel work just came out. So, wow. Talk about bookends, right?
Whew, amazing.
So, yeah. Oh, yeah. And then here we get, what is this? Summer coming to you. Fun from Marvel. Marvel coming at you twice a month. So, yeah, we've got right now, it looks like McFarlane is on Amazing Spider-Man. and Jim Lee is on just doing his X-Men stuff, and I think this is his first X-Men story.
That's his first issue.
Yeah,
248.
Mhm. So cool
So
stuff.
Dazzler is not on the team just yet. She is. She is. Never mind. Scratch that. Cut that in post.
What a weird ad with these like realistic frogs.
Check out
Interesting showing what's
John
going on
Coates,
there and
like
Bloodstone and
Ninja
Cap.
4,
Yep.
M.L.F,
Was like a
Berserker,
little
and more.
interesting
Chris
little
Anderson
arc and
Comics
stuff.
dot com
Nolan
is where
cover
it's
of
at for books like Chaotic
Wolverine.
Neutral, Spectral, A Showcase of Fear, Lost Angels.
So yeah,
and more.
there we go.
Plus
That
apparel
is
and original art. Also, a link to
is
Patreon where you can read Three-Headed Pigman
issue
now.
131
subscribe and hit the bell
of
icon.
Uncanny X-Men.
See you
Wow.
next time on the Chris Claremont.
We're getting into it
X-Men
now.
Comic
Things are
Club.
heating up, and quite literally with the Phoenix power.
Oh, interesting. It says copyright 1979 on the cover, but the indicia on the inside says 1980.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know how all that worked out.
Mm-hmm.
The copyright hadn't been rolled over yet, I guess.
Yeah, maybe.
Awesome. All right. Well, we're marching right along with the Phoenix saga here. Dark Phoenix saga, I should say.
Yeah, gonna get even darker. And next issue, next week, we're gonna get some full-on Hellfire Club reveals and action.
Dang. All right, that's 132. So go out, find it, get your Omnibuy, get your digital copies, get your beaters, get your perfect 10 graded slabbed book and break that sucker out because it should never be imprisoned. Let it breathe. Read it.
Amen. And I will say quite a few of these Hellfire Club Hellfire Club issues right now. Marvel's been doing a bunch of reprints of them.
Oh, cool.
So I think they're like $5 or something like that at your local comic shop. They might have some stacks of them.
Perfect timing.
Yeah.
All right. Awesome. Well, then I guess there's nothing else to say, John, except everybody.
Excellent, guys.
Later. Bye.
Check out dinobeast.com for all things John Coates like Dino Beast, Ninja 4, M.L.F, Berserker, and more. ChrisAndersonComics.com is where it's at for books like Chaotic Neutral, Spectral, A Showcase of Fear, Lost Angels, and more, plus apparel and original art. Also a link to Patreon where you can read Three-Headed Pigman now. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon. We'll see you next time on the Chris Claremont X-Men Comic Club.